If you were to ask any Goloin when diplomacy started to break down with the humans, judging by the period, they would all tell you a different time and date, a specific story, a point that was too far. But in actuality, it was probably no specific point. But there is one point that could be marked, where those whose journals we hold began to see the error of these ways. An explosive moment. The introductions of our people to the full capabilities of the Huma.
What was that? What was that?
What are they doing?
Ears ringing.
Something went wrong.
Are you kids?
Earthquakes? No, it's probably not. No, that doesn't sound like it's an earthquake. Come on, back behind me.
Kinatat quickly led the group forward, bringing them across the mountain towards that sound, that explosion, the tremor. And when they got there, they had seen that the humans had already left, and in their place, a gigantic crater, a sinkhole.
It's torn to shreds.
It seems to have... It's just gone. What are these black marks? It's like a fire.
It smells hot, burned.
Sata. This is too much. This is too much. I've changed my mind. I made a mistake.
Why would they need something like this?
It's I don't know. I don't know. This...
It will pass. They're gonna use that on us one day.
Susu.
Don't. It's not your fault.
I said we should bring them hunting with us. I said we should... I'm sorry. Sorry.
No. It will pass.
From Tharic's account, something shifted in the room. The blown open cave with its scorch marks around began to shift ever so slightly. A matty, glossy type of feel. One that was strange to the touch, unnatural. It seemed to glimmer and shine, but with a dullness to it at the same time.
Look. The walls are passing.
Who is sad too.
So much to change so quickly. Even within the very journals I read, I had noticed the shift. Not just in the way things were described, and the notices of some wearing human clothing, of different shifts of responsibilities, and also the beginning of a power vacuum and general divide between the community. But even in the way people spoke. Tharic, our great journalist, our wonderful historian, I noticed a shift in her dialogue, as she wrote in her journal. She had learned the human tongue to better coordinate and understand the world around her, and you could see even that understanding shifting the way that she wrote about things. In all other circumstances, I would love to see it. It would be the sign of growth and knowledge, expanding someone's repertoire, but there is a sadness in that page, and an understanding. This was not a language she learned because she wanted to. Regardless, she had met with the leaders once again.
Mother Kusanta, it is good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. Days have been long.
It feels like every time we meet, it's to discuss another issue of import for the entire people. Forgive me for saying, but the days could deserve to be longer.
We do not have much time.
Do we not? Considering it feels there are increasingly few that remember the old ways. We are in some ways the only Orya left.
Yes, that is true. Have you heard what the Huma call us?
Oh, yes, they, weirdly enough, have come full circle, I suppose. I'm glad they are finally saying Gallo to greet people.
And still, they don't learn respect. They said they've taken our gallo, but they have not taken our guitar. They don't understand the beautification of the language. Grumble, grumble, grumble. But yes, admittedly, at least they recognize some of our grand contributions to the linguistic community.
I do...
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you first.
I suppose I do have a minor concern.
Yes.
It appears they are putting additional, ore, I think is the term they use, the rocks that they dig up. They have decided that their latest storehold is adjacent to the library. I have protested, but they've remained resolute.
They only feign understanding at times when it's convenient for them. They call us the they call us the Goloins. Galoan.
The accent is a little difficult, but you would do adjust to it with time.
Based on the noises that we make, but the only noises I hear from them are explosions and them digging through the walls. I will go speak to them on your behalf.
You'll speak to them? Good, thank you.
I will count on Mother Kuganta to blunt some of my language. I've been told that I can be caustic, and that isn't good for diplomacy.
Yes, several fights have broken out because of what you said.
They learn our language, and they learn how to weaponize it against us. They do not learn the proper... I apologize.
Do not weaponize language. It is... as you wish for them to honor our words, you must honor theirs.
Such wonderful words, such as hoo. Fine, I will endeavor to do better about this. Tomekeeper Theric.
Yes.
Will this impose upon your instructions? Will this impose upon your work? This...
It's
digging.
It's strange. As of late, I feel I am close to finishing. Finally.
In that case, all the more reason to make them go somewhere else. I will tell them that we discovered a mine on the far side of them. A mine over there, blah, blah, blah. I'm always about the hoo-hoo.
It's... You look concerned, Mother Kutantar, but do not worry. I think upon the resolution of this tale, I actually do genuinely feel Gwalahu.
Truly. I've spent a long time trying to mend relations, the humor. I've felt nothing but passing in this entire time. But I feel that hopefully we may all find Gwalahu in this endeavor.
Oh, do not worry. Yayo is so filled with piss and vinegar, as they say. I do believe her deadline will never approach at all.
Finally, a human word I like. Piss.
A Goloin prepares to head off deep, deep into the mountain. He stands at the very edge of a dark, dark pit, looking down. This place is as far down as they could go, as far down as they have built. It is the edge of the known mountain to them, but the mountain does go deeper. A grand cave far down beyond any sort of knowledge. Despite the ability to see bits into the dark that Goloins have, it is still too dark. It is an absence of light in any capacity. He's a well-seasoned adventurer by now, our Kinatat, but he's older now. His body aches, but he continues to tie up his boots with that well-trained simple motion. Katarep approaches as well, and he simply turns, addressing an old friend.
Golo,
Golo, you've gotten pretty good over the years.
Well, I'm glad I learned something.
Yeah.
You know, they've taken to calling it, Tetelope. This place, down there.
Yeah.
It's... Boomies don't like going down this deep.
No. They don't like anything they don't understand, really.
Well, shame for them. You know, I think I found my Gwalahu with this place. Something about exploring it, seeing it. The jungle shrunk a lot over the years. I found the end not too long ago.
Really?
In fact, it was the direction they first came from.
That's...
You know, sometimes I kind of wish that... Nah. That's a bad thought. It's just passing.
No, go on.
I wonder how our life would have been if that jungle really did go on forever. Maybe if they never came, we never met each other. We just stayed in this nice little place forever, constantly exploring and seeing new horizons, learning new things, dealing with our own problems.
You don't remember it much, but I feel like that's a question we've asked, our people have asked before a long, long time ago. And I asked you a question a long time ago, too. Do you think this all was worth it?
Kinatat remembered the entry. He'd reread it not so long ago. He finished tying his shoe, clicking his boots together, and a big, earnest smile came to his face.
It's worth the while.
That's something I'd agree with.
Keterip approached, raising up both sets of arms, placing one pair of hands on the shoulder and the other pair of hands around the forearm.
Gravak.
Crev.
With no shame or embarrassment, Kinatat tied the rope and began descending down. I'm so excited for this. Upon... Oh, I can't. Okay. Upon the return of the Grand Wizard Varnus to the mountain, Theric had called for them. A council was declared. A small one that was smaller than any other before it. But all the same, they were resolute. They had called on short notice as the quakes had begun to grow ever closer to the written-on dates. Not one passing of a star, but instead, every other star. Still too frequent. Too soon. Moving in, abruptly, in control with his detachment of guards, Grand Wizard Varmus exclaimed at the Goloin Council, enraged.
What is the meaning of this?
Well, thank you for taking the time to arrive. I believe this is, an important conversation that you will want to hear.
Then speak.
Very well. The, Ahukit is close. We have been keeping records, and your persistent pushing has, put us at our limit. If we continue, there is only one outcome for all of us.
Varnus stood, stone still. The gold mask hugging his face stopped any emotion from bleeding through. He did not even call out the use of the word Ahukit, but instead watched, solemnly staring, and then spoke after she had concluded.
Go on, then.
Right. Well, I suppose I wanted to let you all know that my book is complete.
What?
I feel finally, after all this time, I genuinely do feel a Gwalahu within me.
That's incredible. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. I think early on, I think I said to you, Yala Mileo Mayayo, that I felt Gwalahu every day. And I must admit, I was maybe telling a falsehood. But I think spending time with you, with Mother Kutinta, with Katarip, and with Kinetat, you've all given me a better understanding. And with our home, I think I finally feel like I fully understand.
Yes, and what does your Gwalik have to do with this affair?
I am offering you time, human. Things as they are, I do not think you'll be able to plead your case with our home. But I think I understand, and am in a position to have a conversation. So, I suppose I am saying farewell for now. But do know this. You may call us Goloins, but we do have a name. One that I think I maybe have forgotten. We weren't in a position to write it down. But do know, if you survive, that the people who let you into this world gave you space to live, to trade, to find your own Gwalahu. We came from Held. We are the Heldin.
And to that, our name, our identity, what we were before, the place we came from uttered out into this chamber room, all stared and looked. A lost name, one forgotten. Not due to any lost history, but due to the desire to not speak of such things again. Pushed down and forgotten, it reverberated and brought back memories of many assembled here. And with it, upon speaking that out loud, the ground trembled, one more quake, as the very ground itself arced up, wrapping around the great storyteller Theric and pulled her deep beneath the earth. It was a spontaneous moment. The Sheikh, isolated in this one room, the response of the human party was panic. The Grand Wizard Varnus, always standing so upright, lost his posture and began shouting in the tongues of his own language to his compatriots. They thought they might be attacked, that a demon had entered the room. But it was no demon. It was the last wish of our storyteller, a bargain. Diplomacy, with the only one who would listen. One final entry. The mountain had grown sparse. Many had left or prepared to leave. Tharic was gone. And the humans were beginning to crack down, even harder than before. Most had decided leaving the mountain was the best option. Some had stayed, belligerent. But, in that small group left, one more council meeting was held. Down one, and left with only the two, those bickering old ladies. Still, to this time, discussing what was best to do for the people that were left.
A shame that Tharic isn't here to moderate yet another one of our discussions.
Yes.
Do you remember that expedition that Kinetat traveled outwards on? The one that he never returned from?
How can I forget? I could never get his book.
Upon that statement, Yayo produced a small, beaten-up journal from within a sack. It was a terrible-looking thing, and inconceivable.
His last words for us. I am admittedly not a keeper of tomes, so I'm not as good at deciphering his writings, but he was working very hard at them, and I was working very hard at reading.
Yayo pulled open the book, leaned into Kukunta, and they read together.
Seems he made a discovery down there. Do you remember a long time ago when we would section ourselves off? Those that wanted to go deeper and those that wanted to stay with us. I used to call you a damn fool for welcoming those that ventured deeper into the mountain, into great Ahu. I would not welcome them back. They were no longer family to us.
Yes, I mourned for them.
Well, on his final expedition, where he found his Gwalik, recognize this word, family in exile, right? Those that we sent away so long ago. It seems they still remember us.
See.
Yayo pulled from the journals entries about strange things deep beneath that which lurked in the dark. Beings with multiple legs, towering, draconic over others, moving about in large groups, and some solitary. Yayo quickly pulled out a pen, scribbling into the journal one more addition in the Goloin language.
What we thought was once the Ahu kit will become our hope.
Gwalahu.
This mountain is our home. These people are kin. Mother,
Yes.
you are the one that connected our family. Let's find them once more.
As the story came to an end, I noticed, slowly, individual books had been put down, until the final conversation was had, simply Yayo and Arcot reading off the last accounts, until their life books were left, as they ventured off deeper. And then a silence. This was the end of history. The first to speak up. Well, we all knew it would be a bummer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started so hopeful.
Yeah.
It's not like the end. We're still here.
We're still here.
So, like, it's not hopeless.
So, Garchinus, I guess that's kind of an answer, right? If you came from us, then your parents must have gone with Catarip. Did they ever talk about the travels?
You know, I never really as a child asked. And while I had a greater interest in our family history and asked them about it, they did talk a little bit. But it always felt like they were not cagey about it. Just they didn't want to talk about it in great detail.
Yeah.
Not even that it was sad, it was just a period of time of their lives that they had completed and no longer really wanted to retain.
Yeah.
They didn't keep life books,
Right.
so
Maybe it lost a custom. Maybe they had them and left them before they left, kind of like Kukanta and Yayo. Though, I think more likely, too, it's probably the same as Batakanatat. There's a lot of pain and a lot of fire left there, and it does no good to live life now if you're remembering the past like that.
But maybe I feel silly for saying, but it was beautiful. The end of, at least Tharek's life book. She spent so much time, she worked so hard on a masterpiece, but it wasn't just a singular effort. It was a masterwork that contained everybody. All of the held in Ahu. She maintained a library that maybe smaller than this room, but vastly grander, and she made sure that every single one of those books was cared for.
You think this is it?
I
You think this is her library?
then
Oh, you're right. This has to be it, isn't it? I mean, I doubt they were able to build something like this so deep. I mean, with what, the labor we had, there'd be no way they could sneak it out unless it was already here. So that means this is where everything was learned.
Wait,
What happened to all the books then?
wait a second. This was the... Yeah, you're right. If this is not... I turned and looked around and no small, abject amount of horror. This was the heart of our old civilization. and it got torn down by this big machine, and they replaced it with that garish tiling and a big picture of I'm losing it.
He put a big picture of himself right outside our library.
Where we used to live. This was the heart of our village.
Our elders sacrificed their lives for that man. They could have just walked away and left Ahu to consume them all immediately, and they decided to give them whatever time they had left to commune with, to plead with the place we all lived.
And they built a kitchen full of skeletons and rotting food, and we had to put up with that farce. I kicked the pillar nearby, likely spraining my foot. The pain, however, was nothing comparable to my rage.
It is a story heard thousands of times. Doesn't get any less painful. You have your books again.
You know what the worst thing is? It's probably the safest place for them.
For now, you're probably right.
Rage was barely disguised on my face, and yet whatever compassion the story welled up in me, I immediately channeled. Yayo, are you okay?
The look of concern from Gartrinus made me realize something. I'd lost composure. I'd done the one thing that I did my best to... There was no real excuse for my actions. There was nothing else I could do other than... No. Honestly, I'm not acting rationally. I'm not good. I actually need some time. If we're gonna go out there, I'm not gonna be able to think of a plan. I'm gonna be too focused on tipping shit over and starting fires.
Okay. Then we can rest here for as long as we need, but...
Plops on the couch.
And Strege, our cat, Etete, are you all okay?
I'm angry. We had a lot of village leaders back then, and each one of them died in a horrible way.
Except the only one willing to suck up.
I know we don't talk about Gwalik specifically because there is always an argument over what it truly means, but from what I understand, how long they lived, the generations, because they lived a long time based on the events in these journals. But they passed away when they experienced an enlightenment. So, it's sad, but they felt they've reached the end of their story. And, well, the passing of people we care about is always sad, but at least they passed with purpose.
Hearing that, I nestled myself further in the ancient furs that had kept the Yayos, including this one apparently, cool through the years, and decided to share. I don't know if I ever said this. Do you know what my responsibility is in minding the life books?
No, you hadn't mentioned.
I turned my head slightly, lolling on the side of the couch. There's a reality with retrieved life books, that the last page or passage is never completed. It is the Yayo's responsibility to write that final page. Again and again and again, the same ending. You can only write someone's death so many different ways before it stops feeling genuine. I let my head again rest on the back of the couch. I am frustrated and lost in this sensation of watching it not just for a person, but for our entire people. The last page, again, was identical. I pulled the book that I had been reading out and placed it on the couch in front of me. I want to see a different ending.
I couldn't control myself any longer. I tried, but when you live the life I have and you hear something like that, even at the risk of your own personal ostracizing, it just comes out. Is that why you haven't written your journal yet? I'm sorry. A night ago, I looked through all of your journals while you were sleeping. I'm sorry, I didn't...
I write it and I start to panic.
Yeah, well,
Yeah?
what journal of mine would you have looked in?
I didn't find a journal on you. I expected that. I did find another book. Seemed to be signed by one Zarlamander. Do you know what that person has done before?
You know of my mental?
Yeah, how can I not? After the War of the Stake, there needed to be some unity. So Zarlamander, who I'm assuming is the one who bookrolled your expedition here,
Correct.
he was commissioned by the government of Lexandria to make a sweeping history of the ways in which all the nations of the surrounding lands had actually been friends the whole time and had many communities and enemies in mutual state. My culture, long dead, was a pretty easy target practice for him. We didn't get to make a decision. So now, I find myself having trouble bringing myself up anywhere. So, I just wanted to ask if Yayo can't write a journal without knowing if it's gonna end with her dying and everything being the same. If you can't write a journal because you don't feel connected to the people enough, and if I can't find a place to be either, then why the hell are we doing any of this? Why do we keep walking around just putting everything in danger to just kill some people in a damn dungeon when it's all gonna amount to nothing?
I listened to Melnius, and I felt heat, needles roiling in my chest. This is something that frustrates me every day, that I will never truly feel like a Goloin connected to the people who actually get to live their lives and understand their culture and live where my grandparents were born, and I come here and it is just as bad, worse in some ways, than the life I lived anyway. But you get to actually keep a history, don't you?
What are you talking about?
Within yourself, you clearly remember, you're supported in the nature of you actually being able to log your own history. You have 500 years of memories and friendships and relationships and arguments and joys and sorrows stored within you, and you are able to write them down, and all I can write down are the histories of others, because clearly my life doesn't mean that much compared. All I do is learn for the benefit of other people, and without that I have nothing.
I felt the incendiary anger inside of myself. It was pooling. I experienced this burning sensation in my head. I knew I was saying something stupid, but all the same, it came out. I felt in live moment as every single word felt like an idiotic decision. I'd already known I was regretting it, and I wanted to stop myself, but I physically could not. No social etiquette, nor even some type of internalized feeling of fear could stop me from just shouting out loud. Does that make any better? You don't have anyone to talk about? Great! You're learning. You're here. There's no one to share my pain. I don't have anyone to talk to. Nobody understands. No one's been to my culture. They don't know what we did to eat, what anything we had done. I don't get this decision anymore. There's nothing here for me. Nowhere. Anywhere. It's all nonsense information that'll die when I die. Because I will die. I'm going to die. I'm dead already. I even forgot. Wow. It's all ending now. Sure, I might leave a book here, but are you going to keep that? Is that something that's going to be held and treasured in this Goloin society of yours?
We have spent the last several hours essentially meditating within the graveyard of our people. Have some respect. Otherwise our memories might as well just be lost in Ahu then. And I walked off.
I felt myself still roiling with that feeling. I noticed how I was acting. I gazed at the faces in front of me and stopped for a moment. As Yayo followed me, I still made my path forward, sort of full of too much passion to really speak. I found myself shifting around as I started to just pull books out of the wall, continuing my search from prior, just needing to find anything.
using my obsession with this journey, this quest to sort of lock out anything I could to just try and find some type of answer in the physical world around me. I didn't even recognize Yayu approaching as I stopped.
Here you go. Another addendum to your journal.
What?
I handed over the segments of journal that I'd been writing. Again, another segment ripped out of my own, very much empty book.
I stared at it in my hand, holding it, looking at the page. Why do you keep doing this?
I remember looking back, looking at the table that we just left. Now that I write this all in retrospect, it was a significant moment, but I did not realize it at the time. It seemed like the simplest answer of all. I lightly shrugged my shoulders. I mean, if those words reach anyone, it'll have been worth it, right? We don't choose who reads our stories. We can only write them.
I held a page in my hand. All I wanted to do was potentially scream out, keep up pushing those feelings as best as I could. Though, I also knew in this instance that would be a bad idea. Part of me felt that impulse to lock it all in again. I'd really made a mockery of this whole situation. I wasn't sure, especially after speaking so loud, I would be able to hold my purpose here much longer. I wiped away tears. As I stared at the page, I thought for a moment, looking at my hand, and realized that crying was the one thing I hadn't lost after I died. And a part of that made me smile. Because when I think about it, I don't even remember the last time I cried. This must be pretty weird for you, Stray Gay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is all big for us. I'm not sure if you really relate to it as much, though, considering...
It's relatable more than you'd realize.
Oh, really? Sorry if that was rude. I don't really know. I don't talk much. But, yeah. Thank you all for a rousing session of Mendatot. Hang on. Let me just, one moment. Hey!
Tete.
Hi. I suppose you got everything you came here for, huh? At least from what you first said you came here for, right? But sounds like there's a little bit more, huh?
It's, weirdly enough, it's what I expected.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hang on. Here. I saw him as he was, crestfallen, and in my head I thought of a rather funny thought, I suppose. Truly in this moment, he was like all of us, crestfallen of the weight of the loss and everything like that. But that did not seem like a kind thing to show to a man who was suffering in this way, so instead, I reached into my coat, pulled out a bottle, and patted my hand on the ground. Why don't you sit and drink with me for a moment? I promise I won't get drunk, okay? I don't get drunk when I'm with friends.
Very well.
Okay.
I had a feeling that something similar might occur during this jaunt with you today.
Oh, yeah?
So, when the skeletons go and fetch us tea, I stored it in a flask for later.
Well, that's pretty good of you. Then let's have a nice drink together.
To elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
To elaborate on what I said before, how it was what I expected. I suppose I might have dreamed that my visit to Ahu would elucidate everything about Goloin culture I didn't know before, and I would connect with people that I didn't realize I had a kinship with, and leave in a couple weeks or a month with a sunnier disposition and a song in my heart that I truly understood myself and other people, and then I breathe in and out of reality and realize ultimately what was most likely is that I would arrive here, I would learn some truths about myself and my history that I wasn't comfortable knowing, and leave feeling just as estranged as I did when I arrived, if not more so.
Oh, Sounds like it'd be so convenient, huh?
But, this is maybe what feels like a controversial thing to say. I really enjoyed the story I read of Tarek and of Katarip and Mother Kutentat and Yayo Melayaya. They truly found happiness and then passed away, even in incredibly dire times.
Well, you know, something I think. If you go to a place and you see all the good of it and feel this bubbling joy and love in your heart for what you see, I think that just makes you a tourist.
It's so...
Right? I know it might seem weird, but if you can cry with us, if you can bleed with us, and if you can see us for what we are, then maybe you're a little more Goloin than you first thought. Or maybe it should be said as it is or was. Maybe at the end of the day, you're a real Helden, like the rest of us.
I think I'm gonna do an embroidery, like a tapestry, instead, since I apparently can't work up the wherewithal to write my history in words.
Sounds like it'd be a good way to remember you. If you make a tapestry and you leave it with us, I'll make sure to put it up every time I do a story.
That sounds really nice. Thanks, Metate.
Thank you too. Y'all got me some booze.
Oh,
I'm in debt.
you're incorrigible, you know that.
Maybe a little bit. Let's go grab some books, okay? I got a bunch of reading to do once we get back.
Yeah, this needs to be stored somewhere with people that will actually care for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe some things should be kept here. After all, it'd be I had heard something in a moment. A shifting of the surroundings. As I felt the entire room almost shift for a moment, I stopped, turning to the direction of the clock we held up to block the entrance of an invader. But it was not coming from that direction. No, it seemed like the rocking sound had come from the spot where Millennius had disappeared off into. Something was there. Wanna go probably take a look at that?
Yeah.
In my fixation, I found it. A little lever hidden behind a door. Quaint, simple, effective. Probably only findable because I expected him to be that way. An intense, paranoid man. One who had no respect for any knowledge he kept beyond keeping it as a weapon. I came into a room and found a number of different books and symbols all around, and one kept up on the table. A journal of some kind as I peeked along the way. I sort of held it and peeked down, and my attention was grabbed. I'd become familiar with pushing away feeling. In this moment I needed to, or else I'd be a bubbly mess. So instead, I put myself forward and I found this. Perhaps what I had hoped for, what I was looking for. I started flipping through the pages, and at that point, the hallway left open for me was quickly flanked by those I had traveled with. I could feel them there, but I kept my attention down. To a degree, I think felt guilty to look at them. But on top of that, I was just perplexed at what I was seeing. These were the words of Varnus himself. Someone gonna go in?
I need to apologize.
Yayo, you're good at this. Go in there.
Okay, I'm going. Hey, what'd you...
I stopped, turning up.
Huh.
It's everything.
It's not nothing this time. It's everything.
Look around. The books, the titles. There are no... Most of them are blank. They're not published. They're journals.
What?
Which means they were written in by someone, either one of you or him.
This is his study.
I'm looking through. I'm finding some... Hang on. Where is it? In the story. In the story, there is a discussion about the mountain, its weight. I remember he seemed scared from what it sounded like. I think I found that same fear. It's here. A logged entry. He seems to have been desperately frightened by whatever Thark was doing. I think all the inconveniences and everything, he had shifted the blame on you because he didn't know what was going on. It would make sense. Look, I stepped to the side, letting someone else get on the chair. And in that moment, I shifted my attention elsewhere, using the journal as a distraction to try to find some sort of information. It was, after all, not in there. As I started shifting through the books. Well... Oh, Arcot, did you want to read it?
Oh, sure. I can take a look.
A number of them seemed to crowd up around the book as they looked, inside of which there was a journal entry from Varnus. It had spoken as thus. What a dreadful race of little creatures. What have they done in the mountain? This place, it's been changing. The walls are shifting away from the mines. Everything's changing all at once. Whatever they've done, it's caused a rift. Why is the mountain acting out in this way? Was there truth? Was this place truly alive? No, there had to be something else. Some sort of magic at play. I needed to know. What was it? What was it? They had done something. Deep in the lands beneath, what they had known as... I believe they had called it Tetelope. That was the word. I needed to round up. I needed to round it all up, all the information I could. Something down there shifted. There was something for sure, and I must find it. Deep down in this place, the mountain. If I can find some source of power there, perhaps my own research may be completable. There might be, for me, something to finally allow me severance from this awful country. Yes, wherever they are, wherever that Thark has gone, will be the truth. I must find it. Deep into Tetelope. Deep in the mountains.
So, mountains really did work in our favor. At least, according to the Lich.
At the very least, Varnus didn't like it. Which, good enough for me.
Yeah.
Tetelope has never been a place we wanted to go. But it was always a place we could go until more recently, I suppose. It was one of the easier bands of our travel privileges within the mountain to stomach, I suppose. Too dangerous. Don't do it. At least that's how Badakanatat told us.
One of our elders went down there.
To have a conversation with the mountain itself.
Oh.
Is that why people shouldn't go? To face the thing we live in? It feels foolish to strike up a conversation with something so large, something so powerful, and assume you're on equal footing.
So, maybe Varnus believed that. There's no evidence that he ever actually went, just gathered information about it. Maybe he was scared.
It's good to know that he was scared of something, of anything, really.
Fear drives all men to hatred, I suppose.
Hey, good line.
Like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was thinking of nice little words to put into the story when I actually tell it to the
You're really
village.
pulling this together. Yeah, no, I'm really glad we brought you along.
Oh,
You brought me to a jackpot, didn't you?
about retelling the story to the village later, you're not going to lean too heavy on the details of Melanius and me arguing?
Oh, you're silly. No, I'm talking about the story we found today.
Well, thank goodness, because I think that was the worst side of both of us, but in particular me. I'm really sorry for yelling at you.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
You are sorry.
What does that mean? In the momentary distraction of the apology, I noticed that Etete leaned in. I didn't quite hear what she said. Yeah. I'm totally gonna talk about it. When I like it's the actual story of our adventure. It's so
the
spicy.
spiciest part, right?
Can you stop mumbling over there, please?
I'm sorry. I will cease my mumbles.
No mumbling here.
We should grab as much as we can.
Of course. GM, I loot the room.
Beautiful.
Thank God. Keep in mind, anything we have, we're gonna have to get out of here with.
That's a very good point. And I'm already hefting a huge load of stuff with these less valuable books.
Of course. Hey, Arcot, grab the journal. Let's get out of here.
Got it. I stuffed the journal in a backpack.
I heard a shoot. Some kind of sound of something slipping open in a moment. As Arcot's hand was stopped, as something seemed to press down and push on the book, emerging out in a moment, it was a familiar form, though it looked slightly different. I wasn't quite sure why until I had realized from the stories and put together that it was quite familiar, actually. It had received a gift, and now was ready to take back something instead. As it popped out of the room, pressing its hand on the book, it looked up with a mischievous little grin on its face. Now! What are we doing in here? You're not supposed to be in here, aren't you?
Hi, to whom do we have the pleasure of speaking right now? We got lost looking for the bathroom. Those skeletons.
Don't you recognize me in my precious new clothes?
Oh.
It's me.
Oh.
Hi.
My hair's catching in the green, don't you think?
Yeah, actually. I actually didn't really recognize you in the light. Good to see you. Yeah, we visited Ganglion. It was great. We had a nice meal.
I heard.
And we were...
You know what else I heard?
What's that?
I heard the sound of a vent breaking around and I was so lost. I didn't know what was going on.
What?
And then, with the sound of a shifting wall in a place that shouldn't be, an echo from a labyrinth that should not be explored, I find you in here, looking at a library. Now, why would you be doing that? What brought you in here?
We love books.
Oh, I'm sure you do. But it's so important for you to realize that this is off limits.
Really?
There's so much here nobody's supposed to know.
Really?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, wow.
Miss Sweet, you want us to find Miss Salt, but yet you don't want us to explore.
I want you to explore in the right places. I thought I gave you enough hints, but it seems you bunch are a little too clever for this place.
Or, oh man, a little too stupid to not put your hints together. Where should we go?
Oh, don't worry. I don't actually have any use for you all any longer.
What?
I'm afraid I can't have pieces on the board that end up getting too ahead of the curve. So I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think the Goloins are going to have any champions in the mountain any longer. Oh, but I'm sure someone else will do. That Matatak fellow sure does seem to have real attention. I'm sure he'll make a go-getting boy that doesn't ask any questions, doesn't delve too deep, doesn't find secrets that are meant to remain hidden.
I nudge Melanias and I nudge Arcot like a kind of, okay, get her.
Dealing with these creatures has been nothing but stressful. Obviously, this was going to be the point that we get betrayed. As we've read in the books, this has happened time and time again. It'll just happen again and again. And one thing I don't think this creature ever believed is that this is the exact wrong time to be doing this.
In a split second, we all acted. Pulling out blades, weapons, and otherwise, we sprung, but her form wildly flailed and moved around, nearly impossible to hit. As she pulled the book out from her hands and started to pull back in that moment, an arrow pierced out through the way and impacted her, piercing directly into her body and slamming her against the wall. The body suddenly juts against it as she suddenly seems angrier. The book no longer able to be stolen, I quickly dashed forward, grabbed it, and put it into my satchel.
Hey, stop that! That's rude!
Miss Sweet, I want to register one thing. this entire day, we had to sit through an entire dinner watching Umami jut and dance back and forth. Arcot has been watching your movements, and she knows how to counter you now. Compared to the way that demon moves, you're nothing.
I'm not nothing. I'm sweet. I'm Miss Sweet. I'm important. I'm everything. I'm in charge.
Your thread and stuffing.
The only thing that makes you important is that dress Garchunus made. And then I go over and I slam the thing shut.
Arcot slams it shut, and the thread seems to snap off as the entire doll's body suddenly falls limp for a moment. But we hear something else fluttering nearby. I think there's more.
What?
There's more of them.
Oh, we need to move. I grab Sweet's body and run.
We start running, but at that moment, from all around us, chutes begin to open up in every which direction. So we stop for a moment and hear the sounds emerging.
Well, isn't that something special?
A voice, but she was already dead. That shouldn't be. Huh? I should have known your obsession with Goloins would have been the end of us. As we notice an almost opposite form of Sweet pop up beneath, immediately behind as well. The one known as Bitter appeared as well, shifting out from underneath. And across the way, we had heard even more sounds as one began to peek away from around the corner for a moment as it looked around, one unseen.
Should have known it'd come down to Goloins ruining everything again. Let's should have just killed them all.
In the distance, on one of the library chutes, one hidden amongst the library opens up as something seems to pop out. Another one that also should have been dead.
This is annoying. Come on, please, let's just take care of them already. No one has to know. They haven't left yet. Come on, let's all work together again. Let's drop the farce for a moment. I just want this done with so I can go back to bullying people.
One voice from the far end heard. In resounding cry, all seemed to agree, with one singular one emerging out from the wall and calling out, "Umami! Umami!" And as we gazed all around us, each one of them reaching into their packs assembled, a number of items were held, as all the dolls of the dollhouse began to descend down upon us.
They say it's been too long. It's so nice to see you. You're a good friend of mine. So long farewell at you. No, I can't believe, oh no, not words from thee, but said in facsimile, yearning for that distant we. So I'm searching for near eternity, but I don't know where I should be. Love of branch, no family tree, no friends I have to see. An unfriendly propensity is my natural state to take flight in perpetuity. And so echo back is only me, cut off from precious we.